All right, we have a number of public hearings this evening, as well as Committee of the Whole plus Council, so we'll get going. It is 6 p.m., July 18th. The first public hearing, the purpose of this hearing is to hear any representation from the public with regards to rezoning application 2018-01 submitted by Arthur Barbeau to rezone lots 13 to 16, Block G, Plan 587, being the Guy Hall, from open space recreational to commercial central to permit the operations of a retail business. So this is pretty straightforward. Anybody who wishes to speak either for or against can do that. Council will have an opportunity to ask questions, and then at that point we'll close the hearing, and it will be dealt with later this evening in Committee of the Whole. So that's the process. If you'd like Art to say a few words or not, it's certainly your choice.
Don't be shy.
After talking to this, yes. My name's Art Barbeau, and I'm at 2 Tuscan Drive, RM Kelsey, and I took over the Guy Hall not that long ago there, and I just know the town, like the town is lacking of businesses, like retail business, and what I applied for is to rezone the Guy Hall for to have retail out at the Guy Hall there, like the basement at the Guy Hall really, and just to draw more people into the community and have maybe a different variety of stuff, you know, for community and surroundings, and that's pretty well it.
Okay. Anybody else? Any members of council have any questions? Councillor.
That's okay.
Councillor
No, he's.
Okay.
He noticed him first.
Art, I was going to ask, do you have a expectation on traffic flow and a plan for that with regard to that if it goes to retail use?
Actually, after knowing that I'm going to be here this evening, I did a little assessment there on actually all the way down Fisher Avenue and right to the hospital there. Yeah, there is a lot of congested areas, but coming from the north there, and there is a big posted sign there where not to turn left or right, like it's supposed to be straight. I sat at the Guy Hall there, and like today, and you'd be amazed how many people turn left on Cook Avenue. And now I'm retired, I guess I can't really issue any tickets. But it's amazing how many people. But what I would do to prevent that is have a do not enter on that first right turn coming from the north or the left or from the south or Cook Avenue.
Do you see the current entryway at the doors into Guy Hall as the entryway exit from that property going forward?
Yeah, you know what, I do see that, but that's more or less for the exit. Like for when you're in the building, that's for the exit area. We don't enter in that side, the side entrance there. And also, I didn't think it was an issue, like what has been happening there throughout the years, like with all the socials and bingos and Trappers Committee. Like I never thought of that until now. But I will, I'll have a plan in place where, you know, I'll have signs posted on the Guy Hall property to enter the Guy Hall, please turn the next right. There is an entrance to the Guy Hall parking lot.
So there's no use of the church property and planned for traffic flow for that?
No use.
No use of church property?
Well, for parking for the church and the Guy Hall. It's posted there, there's 2 signs there.
Oh yeah, I realize that. And what happens on the highway is not
That's
under
right,
your
that's
control.
nothing to do with me.
But what I was wondering, on the property, what's your traffic flow expectation? Like currently they can go around behind the church and come in that way?
Right.
And that's still
That's still current.
part of going forward?
Right.
And whatnot?
And that was discussed with the church committee. Like we're able to use that, it's always been there.
Is that going to be clearly identified that will be the entrance to your
Right.
retail operation?
Right.
Okay.
Because after assessing it, that like I've been observing the traffic flow and everything else, and I could see, like coming from the north, that is a sharp, like you can't be turning into that entrance at all. But that's where I have a plan in place where to have a posted sign where to turn into.
So there's no, I just need to be clear. As you come around the corner, coming in from the north.
Right.
And you come around the corner, and there's a sign there that says no left turns.
But is
right?
all this is
Like-
straight? Is this
But there's no
narrow?
sign that says you can't turn into that parking lot, but it's your goal to not allow people to enter in that
Right.
spot?
Right.
They're gonna enter in further down, there'll be
Right.
signage
There's a
further
better
down?
entrance there, yeah.
Okay. Counselor
At
Gill?
this time, do you know what retail operation you're looking at?
Well-
At some point, you're going to have to apply for a retail license of some sort.
Right.
Which would trigger the staff to look into traffic and these sort of issues. And what we've had happen in the past, we asked the owner to get a traffic study done. So in my opinion, we'd ask the same. For us to now say we're going to do this sign and put there, not on what's going to happen, I don't know, because I don't know what you're putting in there, and probably you don't know either until you get a rezone.
Right.
But at that point, when it comes forward, I think we'd require some sort of study not done by amateurs like us, but like someone who's in that line of business.
Right.
So we could address whatever issues they see as potentially coming
Yeah.
forward.
But, you know, like when I sat there and did a study there is like a double lane, but it's not really marked. And then it cuts off into one lane by the hospital there. So coming from the north, you're entering a double lane traffic there. But that has to be I guess not marked at all, so nobody knows that's a double lane. That's why even coming from the Fish Avenue going by the McDonald's there, it's not marked properly. It is a double lane, but there is congestion, like when people turning to the left to McDonald's. Like myself, I just about rear-ended someone, you know, going through there. And so there's really no difference, you know, no matter where you go.
I
Post
realize
office
that,
there,
but that's
yeah.
that's something that would
But
need
I
to
know
be
what you're saying there,
determined
but
at
you
that
know what,
time.
I
And
can
that's
take
what we've
a-
required of other
Yeah.
owners.
First thing first, you know, see what happens here, and then when we apply for the business there, I'll do a study on that and have the traffic unit involved.
Counselor Conger?
So I truly hope that you're really busy and that you'll have to have a traffic study.
Yeah,
No, I'm just being,
I will.
no, we're always looking
I'm
good for,
we're always busy.
yeah.
We're always
Looking
busy.
for
Yeah.
for a new business in
And it's
town. The more it
obvious.
is, the more people shop in town,
Yes.
so,
Yeah.
that-
And we
which
just
is
need-
good.
We just need more for the community,
So
that's
they
all.
didn't give you, they didn't let you keep your uniform, that you could just go in the corner a little bit? No, I'm just kidding, no.
I was even talking about extra foods, maybe go through there.
No, I totally understand that
Yeah.
there's a double line there, and
Yeah.
there's just a lot of people that don't observe
Right.
traffic, but that's really not your problem as
No.
of right now that I see it. It's just if you get whatever retail business you
Right.
put in there and you
And we
get
do-
terribly busy, then that's going to be,
Oh, it'll be nice.
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Are you, are you the registered owner of this property?
Not registered owner, it's a church.
Because here's one of my concerns, is because that's owned by the Catholic Church, I believe it's still owned by the Catholic
Right.
Church, is that it's tax exempt. And if this rezone goes to commercial, it'll be taxable.
Right.
And so I'm wondering, is the church aware that there's going to be commercial property taxes assessed to those 4 parcels of land? And that's going to be probably a sizable chunk of dough.
Probably.
What's that? No, we're not aware of it. All I do is pay I lease it off them, and because, you know, it helps them pay the tax every month, but.
Church-owned property is tax exempt. And so now there's a hearing to allow
Retail.
commercial central zoning, which is taxable. And so those four pieces of property will go from being tax exempt to taxable. And commercial taxes, you know, it's never the low end, right? So I before we go and and move forward with this, I just, you know, I think that's a pretty important bit of information. Because there's going to have to be cost absorbed. Whether the Catholic Church just coughs it up or sends it on to you and then you send it on to your customers, or however that's going to work, there's going to be taxes assessed.
The church probably did not realize that.
I don't know, I just like,
You still pay tax, and I'm paying part of the tax for renting.
it's tax exempt
They
property.
don't pay taxes.
They do.
They do.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
seen that, I seen it.
Different.
Oh, okay.
But you're heading into a whole new area in commercial central.
I can't see that.
Oh,
It will increase
it
it.
will.
It will increase it?
It will increase the taxes.
But like, even though like it's a rental, like we were, like it's a,
I-
like we have,
Yeah.
thing.
I think where you're headed is a great idea. I think it's wonderful to have more retail equals more people in the community. I'm all for that. But before we go and say,
See what the
yes, this
difference
is
would be.
okay, I would rather just have this hearing tabled for a month.
I have the information that can be brought forward at committee of the whole.
Pardon
I
me?
have the information that can be brought forward at the committee of the whole.
Okay.
When we discuss it.
Okay, good enough. Anybody else have anything to say?
Yep.
Okay, then I will declare the hearing closed, and thank you very much for your time.
Are you there, Crystal?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot about you. Do you want to ask some question, Crystal?
No, I'm okay.
You're so
don't
quiet.
have any questions on this. My only question was about the traffic flow thing, but that's already been answered.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Load up, let's go. All right, we'll do our next public hearing. The purpose of this hearing, put my glasses on, is to hear any representation from the public with regards to variation application 2018-05 submitted by Cameron McKay to vary the rear yard setback requirement from 100 feet to 75 feet from the shoreline.
Jim, I'm going to call a conflict
Yeah. Understand?
and the chair.
Yep.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, hello, council. To start off with some introductions, I'm here with my fiancée, Michelle Reed. Vince Anderson, who did the plans for us and has been doing spot checks, as well as my counsel, Mr. John Skinner.
You don't have to stand, really you don't. You can sit if you want.
I don't want to stand when I talk, I'm just used to it.
You're a stand-up speaker, yes.
If I sit down, I'll be lost in 2 seconds. Thank you. Yes, so just for a little bit of background, what has happened with my lot is we initially provided a site plan that was requested that had our cabin sitting about 65 feet back from the water. At the same time, or just after we provided this, we were asked to get a survey of the lot through the surveyors out of Dauphin, I forget the name, I'm sure you guys know them very well. At that point, everything was provided. We got a work permit, or a building permit that included only these plans, with the site plan having us 65 feet back. So it wasn't a situation where we were trying to pull a fast one on the town or anything like that. We were told specifically to follow the site plan that was given to us with the building permit. As a result, my planner, Vince, caught it that it should have been set further back than the 65 feet, instructed my builder, who was supposed to be here, unfortunately he hasn't shown up yet. And as a result, we did set it back quite a bit farther than the 60 feet. By LA's measurements, we're 99 feet in one corner and about 108 in another corner. Vince has done his own independent measurements, which has it a little bit closer than that, but still within the 90 feet some range.
Okay.
So with that in mind, that's what we're seeking the variance for. It's not that we were trying to build extremely close to the lake. In fact, we set it back quite a bit farther than we were initially told to put it. So that's where we are today.
Okay,
And you might want to speak to Vince about his measurements. They're probably the most accurate that we're in this.
okay, good. Anything you want to add, Vince?
That's about right. I went out and had a look at it. The front of his deck to the property line is about 65 and 75 feet. If you go to the water's edge, it puts him at about 80 and 90 feet. If there needs to be a little bit of a tweak, we could probably work with the patio in the front, and it's pretty close to 100.
Okay. Anybody else? Any members of council? Councilor Gibb? Councilor Gibb?
You had a legal survey done by Falcon Kluchicki, I guess? from
Initially,
Dauphin?
yes.
Yeah. And in that legal survey, it's showing the appropriate distances.
Yes, that's right. And that's when Vince caught the difference between the two and instructed
Right.
us to build.
So I guess two questions. One, if it's different, I mean, for comfort level for me, I'd want them to come back and do it again, because otherwise, we're going to say, we'll send our guy and measure, and they'll be like, okay, whatever, and we're going to say, you guys are going to say, well, we'll send our guy, and that's great, but, you guys are lawyers, the truth's probably somewhere in the middle always, right? So get the guys who do this professionally to come in, so you have a clear indication of where we're at. That'd be number one. And two, if there was a difference between the legal survey, which I think was provided, and the date was prior to the plans, then why are you, you should be having a discussion with your builder.
Well, we did, that's why it was set back, because we had two conflicting.
Yeah, but I'm saying the conflict, there's two things. So the first thing, for comfort level for me, I can't speak for everyone, I'd want another legal survey from the same guys who did the first one to say, pointing out exactly where everything is. And the second point is that if this isn't necessarily a problem, this is a problem with your builder, right? If they didn't set it back where it is, you should say, hey, we had this legal survey done before you started, and then you did your plans and they're off, and no one caught it till after. That's not our fault, that's not your fault, that's not your fault, but that's the builder's fault.
Okay, I'll address both questions. First things first with the legal survey that's being requested. I assume that would be requested, so I've looked into that. And it's almost $1,000, so that cost is falling right on me. We're saying that we're almost within 100 meters, so if this is going to be done, it's going to be at the request of council, and that's, if you guys request it, I can't say no, of course, right?
I would request it, but I can't speak to that.
So there's that. In regards to the issue of my builder following the plans, he was acting in good faith when he followed the plans that were provided to us. There was never the survey site given back to us. The only reason I was able to get a copy of that was it was emailed 2 weeks ago from your office. We never received it back. We just received these. These are the exact plans we had with their building permit. So when he followed the 65 feet initially, he was acting in good faith and he thought he was doing what was required by the town. So again, nobody's trying to pull a fast one on you guys.
No.
It just seems to be a mistake.
Yeah, but the legal survey was initiated by yourself?
At your request, yes.
Okay, so if you didn't have it, that's not necessarily all our fault. You paid for the legal survey?
I don't think anybody's fault, necessarily directly at fault. I think there was some miscommunication, and I think as a result, I don't think anybody was acting necessarily to pull a fast one in regards to our side or your side. I think it was just a confusion because of unclear instructions that we received.
Right, and I'm not, I agree with you, I'm just saying there's a process. So if you asked for the legal survey and didn't get it in time, well, that's unfortunate, but I mean...
Well, the survey was done before we issued the work permit. And I was told initially to just make sure that we're building within our property, because you don't want somebody who's building, encroaching on town land or on a neighbor's yard. So once the sides were marked, that's what we went by. We figured that's what the survey was for, is to make sure we followed within our own property, not encroaching on somebody else's yard.
Okay. Councillor Robb?
When you applied for a building permit, were you required to get a legal survey?
Initially, when we gave the application, we went through the fire commissioner hall. It was before Mr. Manich was appointed. Once we applied, there was some confusion, and then we had to provide the legal survey. So yes, before we got our building permit, we had to provide that.
So you did get a legal survey. Do you have a copy of that legal survey?
I don't. I've only, the copy that we received from the surveyors went directly to the town. The only thing we ever got back was our site plan. And then I got an email from Ms. Salamanowicz 2 weeks ago, a copy from the town of the actual legal survey. That's the only one I have right now, is the email version.
You mean to say you put in an application for a legal survey and the people you paid money to didn't give you a copy?
They gave me a copy which I gave to the town and I never received it back. I didn't keep copies of it. I wasn't...
But, so they did or they didn't give you a copy?
They did, which I gave to the town.
They gave you a copy?
Yes.
Okay. So you didn't choose to keep a copy?
No, I thought I was receiving things back. I did receive my site plan and my building plans that I provided to the town. I thought I was going to get everything back that was relevant, and I just didn't get it back.
And was a legal survey the document that was approved for your building permit?
I don't know. The only thing I received back was this and the actual building permit. I don't know.
Did you have to sign off on a building permit?
I believe so, yes.
Well then, it's my understanding that you have to provide that legal survey which you did,
Yes.
that allowed you to get a building permit. But that is also the blueprint, the footprint you are required to follow.
I wasn't told
Now, the document you keep referring to, which is a site plan,
that. Yes.
which goes along with your building design and whatnot, and is part of a package, and it's my understanding that, well, you gotta keep that package together. But that is not a legal survey, is it?
It was done by my builder, or my designer, and we were told initially that we had to provide that as well through Vince, which we did, and then when I received it back, I thought that was what we were supposed to do. But again, he informed us, I'm not arguing with what you're saying. In fact, Vince took a look at it and said he knew about the 100-foot back, so we set it back farther just because we wanted to be on the safe side.
Okay, now, were they both the same?
No, one was 65, one was 100, and so that's why we're closer, we're almost right at the 100.
So what was covered on that survey and site plan?
Do you want to see the site plan? I can
Oh,
provide
I've seen the site plan, but the survey, and I've seen the survey, and they're two different documents. The actual buildings are located in different places. Had you followed the survey, you would not be here today. And the
Right.
site plan, I believe, is associated with the drawings for your home and building and whatnot, not for the survey of the lot.
Right.
And where you got authorization to build. So,
Just to answer that, had we been told that we had to follow the survey as opposed to the site plan, we wouldn't be here at all.
and do you realize it's the owner's responsibility to get it right?
We did, we followed what we were told to do.
Okay. Do you have any other questions?
approved the site plan.
No, I think it's the fact that he's here applying is.
Well, we were told we had a stop work order. I mean, I'm not trying to fight the town, I just want to get my cabin.
Yeah.
And again, we're saying that from our measurements, it's not the 65 feet that initially was the concern. I think, according to Lay's measurements, one corner is 1 foot too close.
Okay, anything else?
Not on my side.
Okay, then I'll call the hearing closed.
Oh, just wait,
Oh, sorry.
okay. One question, sorry. When you got all the paperwork for your lot, and it stated right in there, you signed off, it was to be 125 feet, but then they changed it to 100 feet, so you knew that it had to be 100 feet?
No, I didn't have anything that I signed off on that I recall. I would never see copies of that. The initial offer was
No,
changed.
actually, you did, and you signed it, so
Attached to the agreement.
that's agreement with the purchasing agreement?
Which was changed a few times, yes, so.
Okay, no, I've seen it, but that's
Okay.
that's what I'm asking.
Yes.
All right, so I'll close the hearing, and it'll come up again in committee of the whole later this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.